Throwaway. BC, my sister-in-law definitely lurks on Reddit, and I don't need this mess getting back to me. I feel like my entire family has turned against me over something that should be simple boundaries. My sister-in-law has been guilt-tripping me into babysitting every Friday night for months with increasingly sketchy emergencies, and I finally said no. Am I the idiot for refusing to drop everything for her anymore? So I, female, 32, have basically been the family doormat since my dad got sick 3 years ago. I gave up a promotion at work, still bitter about that honestly, to help take care of him during chemo and all that medical nightmare stuff. My brother Jake, male, 35, has always been, I guess you'd call him someone who avoids fights. Like he wanted to help, but he had work commitments and his wife needed him home with the kids. Whatever. Dad passed away about 2.5 years ago, and I'm still picking up the pieces of my life. Anyway, my sister-in-law Sarah, female 33, started asking me to babysit their kids, male 7 and female 4, about 6 months ago. Always on Friday nights, always emergencies. At first it was reasonable stuff. Her mom was in the hospital, work thing came up, date night because their marriage was struggling, her words. I always said yes because, family, right? Plus, I love my niece and nephew, and honestly, my social life isn't exactly thriving these days. But here's where it gets weird. The emergencies started getting more and more strange. Like last month, she texted me Thursday night saying she needed to rush to help her mom, who fell down the stairs. But when she showed up to drop off the kids, she was wearing a black cocktail dress and heels that probably cost more than my rent. When I asked how her mom was doing, she just said, "Oh, you know how it is with older people," and rushed out the door. The kids were already in their pajamas with teeth brushed, which seemed odd for an emergency. And when I hugged them goodnight, I could smell her perfume all over their hair, like she'd been getting ready for hours. This has been happening literally every Friday for the past month. Different emergencies each time. Her book club had a crisis meeting in a cocktail dress. Work emergency. She's a stay-at-home mom. Her friend needed emotional support after a breakup until 2 a.m. Car trouble, and she needed to deal with the mechanic at 7 p.m. on a Friday wearing clubwear. So Thursday night, I'm doing laundry and watching Netflix when I get the text. She told me her mom fell again and hurt her hip, needed to rush over and help her get to urgent care. Asked if I could watch the kids tomorrow night since it was an emergency, and I'm literally a lifesaver. I immediately said yes because, well, I always do. But then Friday rolls around, and she shows up at 7 p.m. looking like she's about to hit the club. Black dress, full makeup, hair professionally done, the works. The kids are in matching pajamas, and the 4-year-old is like, "Mommy spent all day getting pretty." I'm standing there thinking, if your mom is having a medical emergency, why did you spend all day at a salon? She kisses the kids goodbye, and I swear the smell of expensive perfume was so strong it made me sneeze. I asked for her mom's hospital info in case something happened with the kids, and she just said, "Oh, don't worry about that. I'll handle everything," and basically ran to her car. I tried calling her around midnight because my nephew had a nightmare and wanted to talk to mommy. The call went straight to voicemail, but I could hear loud music and people laughing in the background before it cut off. Not exactly urgent care vibes, you know. When I texted asking if everything was okay, she replied at 1:30 a.m. with, "Mom, stuff running late. Thanks for being flexible." That's when it hit me. This exact same thing has happened 4 Fridays in a row. Different emergencies. Same cocktail dress energy. Same vague late-night texts. I felt like such an idiot. So Saturday morning, I sent her a text. "Hey Sarah, I won't be available for last-minute babysitting requests anymore. I'm happy to help with advance notice, but I need to make my own plans too." Y'all, the chaos that followed. Within an hour, my brother is calling me saying Sarah is really hurt by my message and asking if I can be more flexible for the kids' sake. He goes into this whole thing about how hard it is for her being a stay-at-home mom, which, okay. But that doesn't mean fake emergencies, and how they're going through a rough patch and she needs support from family. I told him I love the kids, but I'm not a free babysitting service, and if they need help, they can ask nicely with actual advance notice like normal people. He got all quiet and then said, "Things are more complicated than you understand," which honestly made me even more pissed off. Then our family group chat exploded. Sarah posted this long message about how she's disappointed in the lack of family support during a difficult time, and how she thought she could count on family. My mom immediately started playing peacekeeper, asking everyone to work this out calmly, and my brother is backing up Sarah, saying I'm being unnecessarily harsh. The thing is, I feel bad for the kids getting caught in the middle, but I also feel like I'm being totally taken advantage of here. I gave up so much when Dad was sick, and I feel like my family just expects me to keep sacrificing without question. I mean, I'm not normally a confrontational person, but after 3 years of putting everyone else first, I just snapped. Maybe I could have handled it better, but honestly, what would you have done? My mom keeps texting me privately, asking me to just apologize to keep the peace. But I don't think I should have to apologize for setting basic boundaries. Am I the idiot for refusing to babysit anymore? Am I missing something here? Information to add. For everyone asking about the mom's medical situation, I actually called Sarah's mom directly yesterday to check on her hip. We've always gotten along well. She had no idea what I was talking about and said she's been perfectly fine all week. She actually sounded confused about why I thought she was having medical issues. So yeah, that pretty much confirms what I already suspected about the fake emergencies. To address some comments about whether this is affecting the kids, honestly, that's what I feel worst about. My niece asked me at the grocery store yesterday when I'm going to watch them again, and it broke my heart. But I think they're better off with babysitters who are actually informed about where their mom is and when she'll be back, instead of me just guessing all night. The 7-year-old has started asking really pointed questions about why mommy goes out for grandma but comes home smelling like daddy's work parties, and I don't know how to answer that. Now for the first update. Hey Reddit, remember me? The one whose sister-in-law keeps faking emergencies to go on dates while I babysit. Things got so much worse since my last post, and honestly, I don't even know where to start. You were right about my family being sketchy, but holy shit, I had no idea how sketchy. So after all the mess from my last post, I was still getting pressure from my brother Jake to work things out with Sarah. My mom kept texting me these long guilt trip messages about family harmony and how I should just apologize to keep the peace. Classic mom thing, honestly. I was getting pretty pissed about the whole thing, so yesterday I called her to vent. I just needed someone to listen to me complain, I told her the whole story again, the fake emergencies, the cocktail dresses, how I feel like everyone expects me to sacrifice my own life for their convenience. Mom was doing her usual thing, where she listens but doesn't really take sides. Then she got quiet for a moment, like she was thinking about something. When I finished explaining how frustrated I was, instead of giving advice or being supportive, she asked if I've been getting the little gifts okay. I was confused about what gifts she meant. She explained she was talking about the gift cards and cash she sends me each month and wanted to make sure they were getting to me. I told her, yeah, I get them, but I didn't understand what that had to do with anything. Mom sends me like $50 to $100 in random gift cards and cash every month, but I figured it was just her way of being nice. She's always done stuff like that. Like when I was in college, she'd slip me $20 when I came home for dinner. You guys, she went completely silent, like dead air for probably 30 seconds. Then she starts stammering about how she just wants to help out and tried to change the subject to asking about my job. But I wasn't letting it go because her reaction was so weird. I kept asking what the monthly money had to do with the babysitting situation and why she brought it up right then. She kept deflecting, and I could tell she was getting more and more flustered. Finally, she just broke down crying. Turns out my brother has been giving her extra cash every month to pass along to me for over 2 years, since Dad died. She told me Jake said I needed support after everything I gave up for Dad's care, and that she should make it seem like it was coming from her so I wouldn't feel weird about it. I was sitting there like, what the actual fuck? I've been unknowingly taking charity from my brother this entire time, and Mom has been lying about it for years. When I asked if this was payment for babysitting, she said no. It started way before that, but she admitted that when the babysitting stuff began a few months ago, Jake told her to increase the amounts because I was helping out more with family responsibilities. So basically, I've been getting paid to babysit without knowing it, which explains why my brother was so insistent that I keep doing it, and why everyone acted like I was being unreasonable for setting boundaries. I felt like such an idiot, and also completely betrayed. Like, why would they hide this from me for 3 years? Mom was crying and begging me not to tell Jake she told me because apparently this was supposed to be some big secret. She kept saying she didn't mean to let it slip and that I wasn't supposed to find out this way. The more I thought about it, the more pissed off I got. I immediately called Jake. He answered on the first ring, which tells me Mom probably called him right after we hung up to warn him. Before I could even say anything, he goes, "Look, it's not what you think." I told him I didn't care what he thought I thought. I wanted to know why the hell he's been secretly paying me for 3 years and lying about it. He got all defensive, saying it wasn't charity and it wasn't lying, it was just family helping family. But when I pressed him about why he felt the need to help me financially when I never asked for help, he got really quiet. Then he said it was something Dad wanted and that it's gotten more complicated since the babysitting situation started. I asked what Dad had to do with any of this, and he said he couldn't explain it over the phone, that they needed to talk in person, and that I wouldn't understand the full situation without context. I was like, try me. But he refused to say anything else except that Dad made him promise specific things before he died, and he couldn't break a deathbed promise over the phone. Then he hung up on me, just said, "We need to talk face to face," and ended the call. I've been calling him back all day, and he's not answering. Mom isn't taking my calls either, probably because she knows she screwed up by telling me. But Sarah keeps texting me like nothing happened, asking if I can watch the kids this Friday because she has another family emergency. I don't know what to think anymore. Like, on one hand, I'm grateful for the financial help, because honestly, money has been tight since I gave up that promotion. But on the other hand, I feel so manipulated and lied to. Why couldn't they just be honest with me about it? And what did Dad have to do with any of this? He died 3 years ago. Why is Jake still following his instructions about my life? I'm starting to wonder if there's way more family stuff I don't know about. Like, if they've been keeping secrets about money, what else are they hiding? I feel like everyone in my family treats me like a child who can't handle the truth about things. First, the fake babysitting payments. Now I find out about 3 years of secret financial support. What's next? I don't even know if I want to meet with Jake to hear whatever explanation he has. Part of me thinks I should just take the money and not ask questions, but another part of me is really hurt that they've been managing my life behind my scenes like this. Am I wrong to be upset about this? Should I be grateful for the help instead of feeling betrayed by the lying? Edit. Since so many are asking, no, I didn't realize the gift cards were from Jake. Mom has always been the type to slip me money randomly, like she'd give me $40 cash just because, or send me a Starbucks card for no reason. The amounts were small enough that it seemed normal for her. To those saying I should have figured it out, honestly, I was dealing with grief and trying to rebuild my career after Dad died. I wasn't analyzing every gift card Mom sent me, and the money wasn't substantial enough to make me suspicious. It just felt like normal mom generosity. For context, when I said I gave up a promotion during Dad's illness 3 years ago, it was a management position that would have been a $25 salary increase plus better benefits. I took FMLA leave instead and ended up losing the opportunity when someone else got promoted while I was out. So yes, the financial impact was significant, and maybe Jake knew that better than I realized. Now for the second update. So after that disaster phone call with Jake a few days ago where he refused to explain anything and just kept saying we needed to talk face to face about Dad's deathbed promises, I spent the next few days going absolutely insane. Like, I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work, kept replaying every conversation trying to figure out what the hell was actually happening with my family. I know this sounds totally made up, but I swear every word is true. By Friday, I was so frustrated and suspicious that I decided to follow Sarah and find out what she was really doing on these emergency nights. I'm not normally a stalker type person, but after months of lies and now finding out about secret payments, I just needed to know the truth. I parked across the street from their house around 6:30 p.m. and waited. I felt like such a creep sitting in my car, but honestly, what would you have done at that point? Sarah left at exactly 7:30 p.m. wearing another black dress and heels. I followed her car, keeping a safe distance because, I watch crime shows. I know how this works. She drove for about 15 minutes, and I'm thinking maybe she really is going to her mom's house or something legitimate. Nope. She pulled into the parking lot of an Applebee's, I'm sitting there like, what kind of family emergency happens at Applebee's on a Friday night? So I parked where I could see through the front windows and watched her walk inside. She went straight to a corner booth where some guy was already waiting. I'd never seen this man before in my life. Not at any family gatherings, not in any photos on her social media, nothing. He looked maybe mid-30s with dark hair and was wearing a button-down shirt. Nothing special, but definitely not her mom having a medical crisis. They immediately started holding hands across the table and talking really close together. Like faces close together, lots of touching, the whole thing. I used my phone to zoom in through the window and took some photos when she literally leaned across the table to kiss him. I sat in that parking lot for 2 hours watching my sister-in-law have what was obviously a romantic date while I was supposed to think she was dealing with a family emergency. Everything started making sense. The fancy outfits, the late-night texts, the vague explanations. She's been cheating on my brother every Friday for months. I felt sick, honestly. Like I knew she was lying, but seeing actual proof was different. And I kept thinking about those poor kids asking when mommy would be home while she was here making out with some random guy at Applebee's. I drove home that night thinking about exactly how I was going to tell Jake. I mean, obviously their marriage was over, but at least he'd finally understand why I couldn't keep enabling this anymore. Saturday morning, I showed up at their house at 9 a.m. when Sarah takes the kids to soccer practice. I know their routine from all the babysitting. Ugh! So I knew Jake would be home alone. He answered the door in pajamas, looking confused about why I was there so early. I basically pushed past him into the living room and immediately pulled out my phone. I told Jake I was really sorry he had to find out this way, but Sarah was cheating on him, and I showed him the photos. I explained this is where she was last night instead of helping her mom. I expected him to freak out, like demand to see more photos or start crying or get angry. Normal reactions to finding out your wife is having an affair. Instead, he just looked at the pictures calmly and sat down on their couch. He looked at my phone for a long moment and then sighed. He said he already knew about Marcus. I'm standing there like, what? What do you mean you already know about Marcus? Who the hell is Marcus? How do you know his name? That's when Jake told me something that honestly I'm still trying to process. He and Sarah have what he called an open arrangement. They opened their marriage about a year ago after their second kid when Sarah felt trapped and resentful about being a stay-at-home mom. Jake said she was getting really depressed and angry all the time, so they decided to let her see other people on designated nights. I literally just stood there with my mouth open, like what the actual fuck. But then he explained that Sarah has been breaking their rules. She's supposed to tell him when she's going out and who she's seeing, and she's only supposed to see Marcus on specific nights they agreed on. But she's been lying about where she's going and seeing him on Fridays when it's supposed to be family time. I'm not proud of what I did next, but honestly, what would you have done? I started yelling at him about how insane this whole situation was. Like, you have an open marriage, but you're paying me to babysit so she can sneak around anyway. What's the point of rules if she's just going to lie about everything? That's when I demanded to know how this connected to the secret payments and Dad's deathbed instructions, because nothing was making sense anymore. Jake tried to change the subject and said we should focus on Sarah's rule violations first, but I was done with his bullshit. I told him if he didn't explain the financial stuff right now, I was going to tell Sarah about the 3 years of secret money and let her figure out why her husband has been manipulating both of us. That got his attention real quick. He finally admitted that Dad's deathbed instructions included helping me financially, but also managing family secrets to prevent fights. Apparently, Dad was worried about me struggling after giving up my career for his care, but he was also concerned about Sarah's mental health and some early marriage problems he'd noticed. He wanted to make sure our family had support systems in place for whatever challenges might come up. Jake said, Dad basically set up this financial support system through Mom, and when the babysitting started, he increased those amounts to cover that help too. I was getting paid for babysitting without realizing it because the extra money was just folded into Mom's regular gifts. But get this, Sarah doesn't know about the payments. She thinks I babysit for free out of family obligation. And apparently, that worked perfectly for her because she could tell me she had emergencies without feeling guilty about asking for free help. So basically, Dad created this whole web of secrets where I'm getting paid to enable my sister-in-law's affair without either of us knowing the full situation. And Jake has been managing this mess for 3 years, trying to honor a promise to a dead man. I asked Jake how he could possibly think this was a good system, and he just started talking about how complicated everything became after Dad died, how he couldn't break a deathbed promise, but also couldn't figure out how to manage all the different moving pieces. I'm sitting here trying to process all of this, and honestly, I don't even know what to think. Like, on one hand, I'm glad Sarah isn't actually having a fair affair since they have some kind of arrangement, but on the other hand, she's still lying to everyone and breaking their rules, and I've been unknowingly participating in this whole mess for months. And what am I supposed to do with the knowledge that my dead father set up this entire situation? Like, he's been controlling our family from beyond the grave through secret financial arrangements, and Jake has just been following orders this whole time. Jake says he needs to restructure everything now that the truth is out. The marriage rules, the babysitting situation, the financial support, all of it. But he seemed more stressed about having to tell Sarah that I know about Marcus than about fixing any of the actual problems. I left there feeling more confused than when I arrived. Like, I thought I was going to solve the mystery, and instead I found out there were 3 more mysteries I didn't even know existed. I still don't understand why they couldn't just be honest with me from the beginning. Like, if they needed a babysitter for their open marriage arrangement, why not just ask and offer to pay me properly instead of creating this elaborate lie? And I really don't understand what Dad was thinking when he set this up. Like, did he really believe that managing everyone's lives through secret payments and hidden information was going to create a happy family situation? I feel like I've been living in some weird show for 3 years where everyone knew what was happening except me. I honestly don't know if I should be grateful for the financial help or pissed about being manipulated. And I definitely don't know if I want to keep babysitting now that I know what's really going on. Has anyone else ever discovered their family was way more messed up than they realized? Like, how do you even process something like this?